Vladimir Putin, the most protected man on the planet, armored motorcades, elite bodyguards, and an intelligence network that sniffs out threats before they even materialize. And yet, he has faced death more times than you can count. Car bombs, snipers, drones over the Kremlin. They've tried, and they've failed. But who are they? And how close did they really get? Today, we uncover the most shocking assassination attempts on Vladimir Putin, real, documented cases that could have changed world history in an instant. From explosive-laden cars in Ukraine to aerial attacks right in the heart of Moscow, each attempt exposes a different level of planning, precision, and failure. Some were foiled by tight security, others by sheer luck. But one thing is clear: someone, somewhere, wants him gone. And the real question is, will they ever succeed? Let's begin. It was early 2012, right before Vladimir Putin was set to reclaim the presidency of Russia. Tensions were high, and so was security. But even the tightest defenses have cracks. In a quiet apartment in Odessa, Ukraine, a group of Chechen rebels sat in the dark. They had a plan, one that had been months in the making. Their target? Vladimir Putin himself. The plot was simple, but deadly. A car bomb. Explosives powerful enough to reduce Putin's armored vehicle to ashes were to be planted along his usual route. A perfectly timed detonation would ensure that no amount of security could save him. But fate had other plans. February 2012. Ukrainian intelligence received a tip-off. Security services raided a hidden apartment, discovering blueprints, surveillance footage, and a chilling confession. One suspect, badly injured after a failed explosion test, spilled everything. Their orders? Direct from Chechen warlord Doku Umarov, Russia's most wanted terrorist. Had this plan worked, Putin would not have been sworn in as president that year. Russia's entire political landscape would have shifted overnight, but they were too late. The operation had been dismantled before the bomb could ever be planted. Putin's life had been spared, this time, but this was just the beginning. By 2017, Vladimir Putin had solidified his grip on power, but with power comes enemies. This time, the attempt on his life wasn't coming from rebels in Chechnya. It was coming from deep within Europe. Putin had arrived in Belgrade, Serbia, on a diplomatic visit. Everything seemed normal, until a last-minute tip-off sent security forces scrambling. Serbian intelligence had intercepted chilling information. A man, allegedly connected to radical Islamist groups, was caught with an arsenal of sniper rifles and explosives. His target? Vladimir Putin. The suspect had multiple passports and was reportedly hiding out in a Belgrade apartment, waiting for the right moment to strike. Security forces raided the location, seizing weapons and documents that hinted at a larger network of assassins. But the real question was, who sent him? Some theories pointed to ISIS, who had been known to target world leaders. Others whispered about Western intelligence agencies, suggesting the attempt could have been orchestrated by unseen hands. Regardless of the mastermind, the plot failed. Putin's visit continued without disruption, and the public never even realized how close their president had come to death. But Putin's security knew, and they knew that the next attempt would be even more dangerous. And they were right, because just a few years later, an attack wouldn't come from the shadows. It would come from the sky. May 3rd, 2023. For the first time in modern history, an attack was launched on the heart of Russian power, the Kremlin itself. Russia claimed it was a direct assassination attempt on Vladimir Putin. 2 drones carrying explosives were shot down just meters from the Kremlin Senate Palace, where Putin was believed to be staying, a fraction of a second too late, and the Russian president's residence could have been turned into rubble. But here's where it gets even more mysterious. Putin wasn't there. The Kremlin later confirmed that he was working at his residence in Novo Ogaryovo, outside of Moscow. Had the attackers known this? Or was it just bad timing? Moscow immediately blamed Ukraine, calling it a terrorist attack. Ukrainian officials denied involvement, with some suggesting it was a false flag operation, an inside job designed to justify more aggressive military action. The attack sent shockwaves through Russia. If drones could reach the Kremlin, what else could they reach? Security measures were tightened overnight. Anti-drone systems were deployed. The airspace above Moscow became the most guarded in the world. But despite these defenses, one thing was clear. The Kremlin was no longer untouchable. And just 2 years later, another chilling plot would emerge. One that Russia claimed had direct ties to Ukraine's intelligence network. February 2025. Russia's Federal Security Service, the FSB, makes a shocking announcement. They've uncovered an assassination plot, but this time, the target wasn't Putin himself. It was someone close to him. The alleged victim, Tikhon Shevkunov, a prominent Russian Orthodox leader, a man rumored to be Putin's spiritual advisor. According to Russian officials, Ukraine's military intelligence had planned the hit. The details were chilling. A team of operatives was reportedly sent to Moscow. Weapons and explosives were intercepted before the attack. The goal? Destabilization. Russia immediately pointed fingers at Ukraine, calling it a sign of desperation in the ongoing war. But Ukraine denied involvement, claiming it was another Russian fabrication to justify military escalations. Whether real or staged, the message was clear. The war wasn't just on the battlefield anymore, it was personal. And if Putin's enemies couldn't get to him directly, they'd go after the people closest to him. But that raises a terrifying question. If Putin himself ever became vulnerable, would the next attack succeed? Car bombs, snipers, drones in the sky, 43 assassination attempts. Yet, Putin remains standing. Some call it impenetrable security. Others call it luck. But one thing is undeniable. He is still here. His enemies have tried from every angle. The battlefield, the streets, even his closest allies. But so far, every plot has unraveled before the final moment. Yet, history has shown us that no leader is truly untouchable. Julius Caesar, John F. Kennedy, Muammar Gaddafi, all powerful, all fallen. So the real question isn't whether Vladimir Putin can survive another attack. It's whether the next one will be the one that finally succeeds. What do you think? Will Putin remain the most untouchable leader of our time? Or is the clock ticking? Let us know in the comments. And if you want more deep dives into history's most dangerous moments, subscribe now, because some stories are just too real to ignore.